All right, right now we're heading to a $400,000 house and we're checking out the neighborhood. I'm looking at oak trees. I'm looking at how the neighbors take care of their houses. It looks pretty good. I'm seeing the sidewalks. It looks like everybody's cutting their lawns. So not bad, not bad for 400,000. Let's get to the house and we'll talk about it when we get there. All right, everybody. So I keep getting emails, phone calls, text messages, and I always ask, in Florida, what do you get for 300,000? What do you get for 400,000, 500, 600, 700,000? So I decided that what we're going to do is a series. Not only we're going to tell you what you get for 300,000, but we're going to give you examples. We're actually going to go to the houses. And we already did a $300,000 one. I hope you watched that. That was yesterday's one. And today we're talking about 400,000. So Wayne from Neat Realty is going to do the tour of this house and give you an example. So Wayne, so when somebody's saying, you get a lot of phone calls about people with obviously you pre-qualify them, see what they could afford,
Of
right?
course, of
You
course.
know,
Yep.
so
First step.
yeah, first step. And when people are saying, okay, a lot of people don't know what they could afford or what they can't afford.
Sure. Especially two scenarios. One, your locals, because they bought a long time ago. So they may have paid 100, 200,000 and they don't know what the market is now. So their home that, they live in might have doubled in value or tripled. They don't know. So they don't have a real good gauge. Other people from out of state are coming in, and those people, they don't know our market down here. So a $500,000 home would be the equivalent of maybe a $300,000 home. So they don't know where to gauge.
Right. And, it makes a big difference of location in Florida, but we wanted to give you guys an overall view because, you might say, hey, I want a swimming pool. And on a $300,000 house, you probably won't find a swimming pool. Okay. On a $300,000 house, you might need a roof, or a $400,000 house, you might need a roof, you know? And that's the stuff we're going to talk about. We're also going to talk about basically what kind of down payment. We're not mortgage people, okay? So talk to your mortgage people, but we're going to give you estimates of what the down payment will be, what the estimates, what the taxes will be, what your insurance will be, all that stuff. And again, reach out to professionals for that stuff. But let's get started. Let's talk about this $400,000 house that we have in front of us. Actually, this is just a dollar under 400,000.
It's 399, 750. So here's the thing. Let's take both approaches. As the inspector, what do you notice right away?
Okay, the landscape, particularly this house, the landscaping is good.
Yep.
I like the neighborhood.
As a realtor, that's what I'm looking at too.
So I drove down this street and the roads don't have a lot of potholes in it. I noticed it doesn't have overhead wiring. I love underground wiring.
Right.
That's really, really important. I also noticed on this house there's no big oak trees. I'm not a crazy fan of big oak trees in front of the house with big things hanging over the house.
They damage the sidewalk, your driveway,
Everything.
your pipe. So absolutely. Also, the landscaping, as a realtor, we're looking at that landscaping and your neighbors, because we want to make sure that your neighbor's home, it's a reflection of your value overall. So driving in, you observed a well-cared community, right?
Right, because usually when you're driving into a neighborhood, how the neighbors take care of the houses is going to be the condition of this house. But I also, when I pulled up to this house, the first thing I look at, plus with the stuff I just said, was how is the land sloped, okay? And this land is sloped slightly, I know it's hard to see on camera, but it's sloped away from the house. Now, I did a video called the 90-second home test. Watch that one too. Because a lot of homes, I could pull into a home and not even get out of my vehicle, and I could tell you if it's a pass, a hard pass, or we could go. And I do that within 90 seconds.
And a good agent should be doing the same thing for their clients, their buyers. So as a buyer, and you're new to an area, we've got to point those things out to you. The things that I'm going to point out is all the homes here are kept up to a certain quality because we're in a HOA community right now.
But it's hard to get away from it.
It is, but there's pros and cons. A lot of people just hear the negative stories because they're spread all over. And yes, it can be extreme, but here in this particular unit, we're looking at $250 a year. That's amazing. And these homes are all settled. They're older homes, so we're not going to see much movement and things like that. So the structure is the way it is, right? And I want you to get into that. Looking at the cracks and so forth, and see how this home has done over, its time.
And the other thing, big thing I noticed as soon as I pulled up before I got out of my truck, I knew it was a block home. Usually, you could tell if it's a block home by just looking at the windows and see if they're depressed in. If they're flush with the exterior wall, it's probably wood frame. But if it's slightly in, okay, it's block, because obviously block is a lot thicker than wood, wood framing and stuff.
And I love the block homes. I try to tell all my buyers, look, this is going to last you the longest. It's built better, and it can sustain more. Plus, you don't have to worry so much about the termites and other problems that come with wood, like you said, window sagging. And down here in Florida, hurricanes, winds, that over 20, 30 years, that's a big problem for you.
And like what I like about this house too, I didn't walk towards the back of the house yet, but it's a hip roof, which is like kind of a pyramid. Insurance companies love that. They love when a roof is hip. So I would buy a house, at least I would try to buy a house that's at least 90% hip, because that's what insurance companies look for. They know that there might be a small gable in front of the garage or something like that, but as long as it's less than 10% of the total perimeter of the house, it makes a huge difference. So this is hip, good credit. The roof, again, I didn't climb the roof. I'm not going to climb the roof today, but it looks a little bit older, so that'll be something I would see right away. So let's get started on this.
Yep.
In the meantime, if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing. It really helps. And again, if you want to actually see some of these houses, my phone number's below. Call me, text me, whatever is easier for you guys. So Wayne, let's get started on a $400,000 house, and then make sure you check out tomorrow's video too, because tomorrow's video is a $500,000 house. Oh, nice. Oh, wow. Big surprise in the backyard. Check that out. We're going to show it to you in a second. But Wayne, before we get started and showing people what they get for $400,000, we have to be realistic. Give us some numbers. What's the average person's monthly payment going to be? What is the down payment going to look like?
You want to know the nuts and bolts, right?
I want to know the nuts and bolts before,
Jimmy's like that. That's why I got the paper here for him. He's like that. He's a nuts and bolts guy, which I appreciate and love. Yeah. So this is a $400,000 home that we're looking at, right? Okay. And given our current market rate, we're at 6.25%.
Right, and I know
that fluctuates.
I know the areas determine the prices too, but yeah, we get so many people reaching out saying, I got $400,000, so go for it. What do they need?
Now, if they're not a cash buyer, they're financing, so that's their rate. Okay? Cash buyer, hey, it's yours, turnkey, you go right ahead, we're done. Okay? Right. And that works with your closing costs and so forth, and it depends on what type of buyer are you. Are you a conventional? And this is where you talk to your mortgage person. We're not mortgage people. We're not going to tell you that. We're just going to read some numbers for you. But if this is going to be your home, your primary home, then you're looking at maybe the 3% FHA, and that changes your numbers a little bit, but we're going to work off of a 20%, which $400,000 home, $80,000. Okay, then that's going to leave your loan amount for $320. Principal and interest, and that's going to be about $1,970, and then your property taxes here. Now, please, we've got to mention this. If someone's been living here 20, 25 years, yeah, their property taxes may state $500, $800 a year. That's not going to be yours when you get it. It's going to be readjusted at the new value, and this is where you get into things like homestead and so forth. But that number, the number that we're going to use, is around $3,000. That's a more realistic number. So you got to be aware that's a big sticker shock for a lot of people that are buying homes.
So you're talking about $80,000 down.
Yep.
You're probably talking around today's rates. Again, they change every day, but last time I looked, it was like 6.25.
Right.
Okay. So not only are you looking at that, but then you're talking about that payment with taxes and insurance.
In this case, we've got an HOA, small one, so that's going to be built in. Usually that's escrowed, and it's along with your overall bill plus your insurance. And insurance, we're looking at maybe around $1,200 a year.
So you're talking about, say, closing costs. What would the average closing cost be?
Closing costs are it's going to be around 1 to 1.2% of that total.
And then you have to have reserves.
Correct.
I used to be a mortgage person, so I know how it works. So basically, you're looking at maybe with a 20% down, you're looking probably, we reserve maybe $100,000.
100,000. Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're looking at about $3,000 a month. And I would say homeowners insurance over here, because I do insurance inspections. I think people are averaging about 2,400 to 3,200. Again, talk to your insurance person. I'm not an insurance guy.
Right.
And
that's built in usually. You can pay that outright and not have it tied to your mortgage. Most people have it tied to their mortgage, so that's an additional. So if you're looking at one lump sum for the home, the HOA, your fees, utilities, all of that, yeah, we're at that.
And Wayne said something really important, and I want to repeat it, okay? Like, say somebody's been living in this house for 20, 25 years, and they're paying $1,200 a year taxes, and that's what your mortgage company sometimes qualifies you with. When you get reassessed the following year, your insurance will go from that to $3,500, $4,000. Trust me, it happened on my investment properties.
That's sticker shock, right?
It's sticker shock.
And your agent has to make you aware of that if you're new to this and you're unaware. So we've got to tell you that.
All right, so now we got this behind us. Let's go check out the house.
All right, Jimmy, you ready to tour this house?
Absolutely.
So here's the front door, and right off the front door, we're going to have our master. Come on in. And if you're not awake yet, Jimmy, you're going to be awake. All right, so here are a couple of things that we notice. Color. Color is easy. Don't let color of a home scare you. This one, it's a little bit unsettling, but that's okay. We can get past that. Room size is what everyone looks at and needs to understand. Is it big enough for your furniture? Are you bringing furniture with you? Are you starting fresh? We've got 2 closets here, his and hers. Most likely hers, and she keeps both, and you get a drawer. That's the way it goes. We've got nice windows here, so we'll get some natural lighting. And I'm gonna let Jimmy come into this bathroom here and take a look. It's a little bit of a different layout. So this might not appeal to everyone, and it's definitely dated. This type of counter, the colors and so forth. So these are things that put this home in the price point that it's at. In my opinion, this is an investor special because now you can come in and put your own personal touches onto it. So if you're a DIY and you can do this on your own, then you come in here, paint the stuff, do your bathroom, and make this home yours. Now, it's got great bones. As we discussed outside, block homes are awesome, easy to work with. The rest is sheetrock inside. The ceilings, I would probably make some changes to that. Let's go and check out this living room though. And we'll still get to that surprise. So we've got a big open up living space. Now you can have a dining table here and you can still have your living room space there. It's got some age appropriate decorations, wall to wall mirror there, mirror behind you. So big sliding door. This is currently one of the things that, it makes this place look bigger, feel bigger, opens up, needs a little WD-40 on that. So I would work on that. And then we come on in to the kitchen. Now, again, it's got all the things, functionality that you'd want. I love how the ceiling opens up. So you can do a lot with this. You've got space for a breakfast nook over here, full-size fridge. Again, the placement isn't modern. This is something that you'll notice with age-appropriate homes. It was the design of the time. A unique feature is over here. We've got a nice little wet bar. So that's interesting and an extra bonus. Maybe you like this. You use this space for entertaining, and you can be the bartender of the day. This is going to be our Florida basement. In other words, up north, we use it as a coat closet, but this is going to be the Florida basement. You can put your stuff in there. Again, looking at the ceilings, the height, there is some maintenance up there, some issues that you have to address. And then we've got some really, really bright rooms over here. It's a little bit on the smaller size. Full walk-in closet. Not much to do in here. This, I think, is simple. We just paint. It's got great size window. Jimmy will tell us if those need to be upgraded for hurricane ratings and so forth. The bathroom is, again, dated, but we can do one project at a time. And then we've got our third and final bedroom. Again, the square footage in this home offers a lot. There's 2 living spaces. Maybe you combine, move down one of those walls, redesign the kitchen. That's what I would do, and have that full open concept. But the key to this home is the extra added surprise that Jimmy was alluding to in the back. Let's take a look at that. Don't want to forget about your laundry room and your garage. Come on in. Now this home's got a 2-car garage, more than enough space. As a realtor, certain things really matter, and the electrical panel, hot water tank, AC, those are all in this room, and this is where I want my inspector to go through everything to make sure that the expenses for my buyers are kept to a minimum. Now, this is a big insurance thing. There's certain panels that just won't get insurance. Jimmy can talk about that, but garage, it looks like everything in here, I don't see any leaks. These are the things that I see that Jimmy's got his 90-second, I've got my 5-minute, which is basically in 5 minutes, I can tell if this home's gonna be a nightmare or not, and to keep my buyers away from it. So let's check out the one big surprise left here. Ready for that? You've got a swimming pool in this area. Now, this is a big deal because when this home was built, a swimming pool might have cost $15,000, $18,000. Right now, we're looking at anywhere from $80,000 to $100,000 for a pool, and that changes the price tag of what you can afford. So with the updates that you'd have to put inside is the trade-off with the pool. It depends on your needs, and your buyer has to know, well, what's more important? Is it family time with the kids and the pool? Okay, great. Then we can put in some, elbow grease and all paint as a family. But then we've got the pool to cool us down throughout the Florida summers.
Okay, Wayne, thanks for that tour. That was great. Now I have a really good idea. People have a good idea. And I'm going to go around the house too and just point out some things that I would be concerned with a $400,000 house. And I'll use this one as an example. But Wayne, you're saying upgrade this, paint this, do the kitchen there. You're looking at bathrooms, you're looking at 100 grand, what you're talking about.
Could be. I look at cosmetic stuff, but if you're not doing it and you hire a contractor, permits, yes, absolutely.
So doesn't it make more sense just to go to a $500,000 house and bypass all this?
So that is interesting because this may be the ideal school zone.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that.
So now I'm thinking if I'm in this, in a different school zone, yeah, maybe I can get all the things that I want. But also I look at it as my neighbors. I've got so much space, the grading, the landscaping, maybe I'm isolated. This is zone X. So I might be in a flood zone. That's going to be $10,000 more a year, $12,000 more a year. So it really depends on what's available, what's listed, and all the details.
Okay. All right. I mean, for a $400,000 house, yeah, obviously I can go to any house and pick out a few things, which I'm about to do. And I'll just give you the things I'm going to talk about is things that you don't have to do right away, but things that I would notice right away.
Right. And honestly, that's why I'd say, hey, the very first call right after we see this is you, because we need to know what I'm not seeing and I can't speak on, because I saw things which I would point out to you and say, hey, what's that crack? What's this? And you'll go more in depth than that. And that's why you absolutely have to have an inspector.
Yeah.
There's so many check boxes that you have to go through, and you have to have as the home purchase process you're going through it. Do not do it alone. There's too much.
Absolutely not.
Do not.
Because you can miss one thing and it could cost you a lot of money. I'm not saying the home inspector won't miss something, but since they do it every day, there's a better chance of them catching something than you. So let's start on the inspection part.
All right, sounds good.
All right, Wayne, the first thing I'm going to notice is the pool is green. Okay, so obviously I know the pool needs a little bit of TLC. And you could have, a plastic liner in there, you could have everything, but I would definitely hire a pool company. And I'm not going to go really into detail with a lot of stuff, but first thing I notice is these are probably the original windows, and these I would consider um, you know time to replace when you can in the future. You get away for years, but now they have more energy efficient windows and things that are better quality and sound too. It's not just it's energy cost savings. It's uh, impact windows that if there's a hurricane, you don't have to put shutters up or boards up. It's just everything. It's a win-win all the way around. But they're not cheap. Like my slider alone at my house, just one slider, I think I paid $9,000. All right, let's check it out. All right, so now we're just walking around the house real quick. I'm noticing over here the pool pump is a little bit on the older side. The filter's on the older side. So I'm noticing that. Over here, I'm noticing in the house step cracking. Okay, if I could fit a coin in there or something, I would do, especially in the corner of the house. Okay, I'm not saying there's anything wrong here, but I would notice it and I would investigate it more. So I'm doing a complete walk. I can see more step cracking over here. So on a $400,000 house, I would see if there was any settlement issues and if they had to pin the house for like maybe not saying sinkhole per se, but
Depressions
depressions and
yeah.
stuff like that.
So we get a lot of questions about that. One of the concerns is people come down and they're like, I've heard so much about sinkholes. How do I look for that? How do I find that? There's two ways, really.
Yeah, you can look at the permits and the counties will be recorded that it was a sinkhole house. But again, when people say, hey, that area is a sinkhole, I mean, you can have one area that has 20 sinkholes and then have another sinkhole 10 miles away. Nobody could really say, hey, this area is a sinkhole
Right.
area.
And the way we develop so fast, you could have one neighborhood right next to another, but they're 20 years apart.
Right. And like, sometimes when they built these homes, they cut these big oak trees and they had the roots in there and they disintegrated over time and it creates an impression.
There
They
you
built
go.
a foundation. So then I would walk around, I would look at the air conditioner, okay? And then a good way to look at the air conditioner is look at the decal over here. And that's a manufacturer's thing. So like this one over here is a 2020. So it's either the first two digits or the third and fourth digit, usually most of the time. But here's the thing. I would, if it's over 10 years old, I'm not saying it's bad, but if the air conditioner over 10 years old, I would say, hey, you know what? I'm probably going to have to update that.
Right. So what I would recommend is that they factor in a cost, a maintenance cost. And this is also good planning. Like, what is that budget? Are we doing 2, 3 bathrooms? Are we doing roof? All of these different expenses. And if we can't negotiate that within the price, then we're going to have to save up for that.
Again, so here's some more step cracking. Okay, so now I saw step cracking in 3 different locations. So now it's becoming more and more. And then I look at the outdoor plumbing, to see what's going on there. I'm looking at the conditions of the driveway, how many cracks are in the driveway over here. So, and then I'm looking at the roof. Does it just need shingles, or is there something wrong with the truss system, like it looks like a wave? So, but overall, for a $400,000 house, the things I just pointed out within 3 minutes is I expected on most $400,000 houses. So, but again, it's the biggest concern I would have on this house is, okay, I see step cracking here, and maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's something, but I would have to definitely check it out. So, anyways, Wayne, for $400,000, it's not bad, for overall.
When we're factoring everything
We are
in,
factoring
the
everything in.
neighborhood cost, long-term maintenance, and everything.
You're the real estate agent, but I'm just saying, on the inspection side of it and everything, I will always find something wrong in a $400,000 house.
You should be able to.
The electrical panel when we were in there in the garage before.
Right.
It wasn't a Zisco, it wasn't a Savania, it wasn't a Federal Pacific, so that's really good. The water heater, I could just, from when we looked at it, I could tell it's a little bit on the small side, and I could already tell without even looking at the serial number that it's a little bit on the older side.
Right. So talk about that. It's on the smaller side. So what does that mean for a family of 4 versus a family
You
of
know,
2?
that looks like a 40-gallon water
Yeah.
heater. You know, for your
Hmm.
family too, maybe you get away with it, but our it's 38-gallon, probably that big one, but maybe go up to a more modern, more energy efficient
Energy
50-gallon
efficient. Yep.
one, and put it on the ground. Put it in the same location, but just get a bigger one
Right.
because they're much more efficient right now.
And that's not a big ticket item also.
No, that's not a big ticket item, but it's something that I would put on the report. Again, this is to give you guys an idea of what you get for a $400,000 house. Okay, now we just left a $400,000 house. Now we are heading to a $500,000 house. So let's check out the neighborhood and go to that house.